and the leadership of the country, compared with the last few years where I've been dormant. I've went into some sort of political hibernation. The reason I'm back, foremost, is not only for the SPLM but for the country. And because
recently we've seen you went to Egypt and now you are in Nairobi. Have you met with young people or the SPLM youth chapters in those areas, like in Egypt and here in Nairobi? Have you have a chance to talk with them, and what is it that you have discussed with them, and what are you going to?
There are some people who are older than us who went to the bush in 1983.
Yes.
And up now they have not found themselves in a position of power.
Hello, welcome to the Nation Post. My name is Akongor, and this is the Nation Talk. Today we are delighted to bring you one of the most brilliant and prominent young leaders in political arena in South Sudan, Ring Machar. Again, welcome to the Nation Post. Please, would you mind tell us about yourself? And
Thank you very much.
welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Ring Machar, member of SPLM. I've been a member of SPLM since childhood. And I'm very happy to join you in your show.
Thank you.
I've been one of the people that follows you online, one of your thousands of followers. And I thought it was a very good idea for me to come and sit down with you and share our ideas about where our country finds itself now and what we need to do as the people of South Sudan collectively to sail through, make sure that we cross our country into a place that is peaceful and more prosperous.
Thank you. Again, recently you have been engaged in very many campaign calling for the young people to join you and support the SPLM political party. Would you please tell us why should young people join you and support the SPLM party, and what has changed within the SPLM? What is it that is new in SPLM today? What can you tell young people?
Yes, I have started lately to be more proactive in the agenda of fostering the interests of the SPLM and the leadership of the country, compared with the last few years where I've been dormant. I've went into some sort of political hibernation. The reason I'm back, foremost, is not only for the SPLM but for the country. And because the SPLM is the leading party in the country, that's what brings the SPLM there. But the most important thing is where we find ourselves at this point in junction in our history as the people of South Sudan. Mm-hmm. We are facing the end of the extension of our transitional period of 2 years, the end of next year, 2024. And that time, provisions of the agreement indicate that we have to go into national elections.
Yes.
And this is for us a very critical time. Because elections can become a source of problems.
Yes.
In many African countries or even across the world.
Yes.
If not handled with care. That's the reason we have decided to come back and try to start our people to start engaging with their leaders with the purpose of guiding them into making sure that we hold our cohesiveness as a nation, our unity. Our tranquility, our peaceful nature, so that we peacefully transition the country to democratic processes. There are things that must be done, and these things need us to speak to each other frankly as possible as citizens of South Sudan, not only members of SPLM.
Yes. Sorry to cut you on that. Recently we have seen you went to Egypt and now you are in Nairobi. Have you met with young people or the SPLM youth chapters in those areas, like in Egypt and here in Nairobi? Have you have a chance to talk with them, and what is it that you have discussed with them, and what are you going to tell them that they need to do in the process of nation building in South Sudan?
You know, I have spoken to them, and the SPLM is organized in those places. They have chapters, and they have student leagues, and they have youth leagues.
Yes.
In some of these countries. So these are the organs, the syndicated organization that the SPLM uses.
Yes.
To spread this message and to strengthen itself.
Yes.
And I've spoken to them, and my message is very clear to them, is that the SPLM cannot be strong without this syndicated organization becoming more proactive in engaging with the people.
Yes.
And explaining to the people why SPLM is still the only viable alternative currently in South Sudan,
Yes.
regardless of all the challenges that are facing the party and the country. SPLM remain the only viable party that can foster that can take the people of South Sudan from where we are into a nation that can become prosperous in the near future.
Yes.
So I've spoken to them and I've told them that to take their responsibilities as young people. And they should not think that they are too young to have a say in the running of the affairs of their country.
Talking of responsibilities, we have had argument as young people, and we find young people find themselves being pushed and they're being told they're still young, they have to wait. What will you tell a young person that feel that he has been pushed and told to wait for his time? What will you tell them? Because it is often, we are often being told like we are young and we need to wait for our time. What will you tell such people?
You know, anybody who is told to wait is anybody who is not qualified enough and has not trained himself enough to assert themselves.
Yes.
So it is not only young people who are not being allowed in. There are some people who are older than us who went to the bush in 1983.
Yes.
And up now they have not found themselves in a position of power or a position to influence things. It's because you have to prepare yourself. And that's what we talk to young people, is that when you are prepared, you will be noticed and you will take your place in the party. We have seen, for example, and I always give this example, I said, for example, the Secretary General of the party.
Yes.
He is a fellow Red Army. We were kids in 1980s, late 80s.
Yes.
Those kids that were, thousands of kids that were trained as child soldiers. He was one of them. Now he's the third man in command of the party.
Yes.
Because he has been committed, he has been consistently developing himself, be it academically, be it politically, he has organized himself. And when you get organized, you get noticed. So the problem with young people is that they cannot be allowed in unless you organize yourself,
Yes.
prepare yourself, empower yourselves, develop yourselves, and make yourself more assertive, and you will be noticed. The second person is his deputy, Comrade Benjamin Bolmel.
Yes.
He's a Red Army, fellow Red Army like me. We are almost age mates. So I am not in the system, he's in the system. So the system being in or out has nothing to do with age. So young people need to get organized and take over. Because there is no way somebody like Comrade Salfa, who in 1983 was only 31 years old, when he was the fourth of command in the entire movement. The founding 5 members, Comrade Salfa is number 4 out of 5 founders of the movement in 1983. He was 31 years old that time. Now here I'm 43 years old. He cannot tell me that 43-year-old is too young to come. The only way I cannot come in is if I'm not organized enough, I have not empowered myself enough, and I have not understood the art of how to maneuver and twist and turn your way into places of power and influence, so that you can use your ideas to empower your people and to fix the future of your people. Politics is an art, is a science. That's why they say political science. It is not something that comes easily. You have to train yourself, you have to be patient, you have to be consistent, and if you're ready, young people, keep telling them, you can make it. Another person is the head of the police forces in our country, the IGP. The IGP is a fellow Red Army, even though he's a generation ahead of me, but he's a Red Army in 1980s. He wasn't among the elders, the Gija Sword.
Yes.
He was Gijamar, and he's in charge of the police forces in the country. The deputy chief of staff, before the agreement pushed him down a little bit, Comrade Toy Chang, he's also Gijamar. And he was the deputy chief of staff of the armed forces of South Sudan. So young people that have been committed and have worked hard have found themselves in places of power. Look at how many young people are in the cabinet currently. How many people are under 45 currently in the cabinet? It cannot be less than 7, 8 out of 35. And so are the governors. For example, the governor of Jonglei State is a young person.
Yes.
So this government has not denied young people the chances. The problem is that it is not about position. It is about empowering them in their own fields. It's about opening up the private sector. And all these things need peace, tranquility, and democratic transformation of the country. And that's why it is important to end the war quickly, and all the wars, bring all the political forces in the country together, transition the country from war to peace, and then democratic election where a government that has a proper social contract between it and its people can begin to set these policies in place that can help young people, even those who do not want to come in politics. even a young person that wants to be a medical doctor, wants to be a mechanic, wants to be an electrician,
Yes.
they need to be able to have an environment, a private sector that's regulated to the point that he can live his life, he can continue and progress in life, get married, have children, without necessarily have to be in politics or have to be a big businessman or so forth.
Yes.
This trade work, working with their hands, carpenter, should be able to take care of his family and children. A soldier should be able to have a salary that takes care of his family. So these things are missing currently.
Yes.
And these things are missing currently because from 2011, we didn't give ourselves a chance to establish institutions of state and nation building and institutions that can help us democratize the country.
Yes.
We went straight into some power struggle, and the SPLM itself,
Yes.
that was almost 100% of the country, divided itself in 2013. And for 10 years, they have been trying to fix this issue up to now.
Yeah, before you continue with that, I would like to ask you, we have seen you doing all this campaign, and you all know position in SPLM secretariat or within the government. What is your relationship with the President Salva Kiir and the SPLM leadership in Juba? What is your relationship?
Why I do this work without appointment is because I joined the movement as a volunteer in the late 80s as a child. I became a child soldier. We have suffered because we wanted to volunteer. We wanted to do something for the party that was organizing our people for freedom, and have continued up to now. I have become prominent. I've been known, but I have never been appointed by the SPLM either in national secretariat or in government position.
Yes.
I've never been had a political appointment, but you can see.
Yes.
You look for me because I'm an opinion leader, and a good number of your followers follow me and listen to me. So we have to take this in our mind. We don't need position to be able to work for your country.
Okay.
Comrade Salva, for example, in Anyanawan, and then in 21 years of war, he was not paid. He worked for 21 years free of charge for his people. So it was by luck, because some of his colleagues in the permanent members are all dead, 4 of them. Dr. John, Karbina Kwanyenpol, William Nguyen, Aram Fanara, all died before they got their salaries.
Yes.
It is just his luck that he reached that stage where he was able to be rewarded for the work that he has done. And that's what we should tell our young people, is that joining political parties is not to be rewarded. It's for you to give services to our people.
Yes.
So I've continued doing the SPLM work. Even in 1990s in Nairobi here, we were part involved in the SPLM, what was used to be called the New Sudan Youth.
Yes.
That became a youth league. When we went to the diaspora, we continued to organize the SPLM in the diaspora, and we continued to mobilize the Western world to support the cause of the people of South Sudan, to put pressure on the government of Sudan to negotiate faithfully with the SPLM. We, the young people in the diaspora, we continue to do so. When we came back into the country, we the SPLM convention. I was a member of the SPLM convention from the diaspora of Australia. In 2010 elections, we participated. We made sure that the SPLM won 94%. When we went for the referendum, we established what was called the Youth Forum for Referendum. The guys that used to wear the red T-shirt, led by Comrade Bolmel, who is now the Deputy Secretary General. All these ideas came from us. We wrote them down and we managed them so that we can sensitize our people and get them ready to vote for independence. And when SPLM was in difficulties with Sudan in 2012, shutting down of the oil, the conflict in Ijilich, we volunteered.
Yes.
And went to the front line as young people, and so forth, until, of course, the SPLM split. So I have been doing this thing consistently since my childhood.
Yes.
And whether you get appointed or not is a prerogative of the leadership of that time.
Yes.
If the leadership of the time does not feel comfortable with assigning you, it doesn't stop you from continuing to do the work.
Okay.
Right now, the next 2 years, the SPLM need to be, all the SPLM members and the people of South Sudan need to be on high alert. We are facing another time that 2023 is like 2013.
Yes.
It's like 2012, 2013. So if you don't pay attention and these things go wrong, it is we, the people of South Sudan, the people who are not working in the government, that suffer the most.
Yes.
So it is time for us to start talking about these issues.
Yes.
Should we go for election? Should we not go for election?
Yes.
If not, what do we do? Okay? And make our voices heard by our leaders.
Yes.
And let them guide us to the path that we want, instead of leaving it whom it may concern. That is the reason I'm here.
Yeah.
Not because of appointments.
Talking of election in South Sudan come 2024, I would like you to highlight to us how ready is the SPLM party going to the election, and what will you tell the people of South Sudan. Are we going to expect like what happened in 2013, or what is it? How prepared is the SPLM leadership going to election?
The answer to that is very simple. The party is 100% ready to contest the upcoming elections, December 2024. And we, as the members of SPLM,
Yes,
we can assure you that we are 100% sure that we will not only go into elections, but we will win the elections overwhelmingly. Simply because the SPLM is the only party that has delivered anything to the people of South Sudan, regardless of all the challenges it has gone through, regardless of all the divisions and shortcomings. SPLM still remains the only viable political organization in the country currently to help the people of South Sudan navigate their way from current difficulties into a future that is prosperous, if given a chance and mandate in the elections. So we are ready as SPLM. The most important question here is the country ready for elections? That is a different question altogether. SPLM is a political party. It's a party that is the major coalition partner in the transitional government of national unity.
yes, yes.
So whether the country is ready or not is a matter not only for the SPLM to discuss, but for the people of South Sudan, of different political forces, civil society organizations, youth, women, and everybody else. We need to ask ourselves, are we ready for elections or not? But if we are ready for elections, if the people of South Sudan feel like the prerequisites for conducting free and fair elections, peaceful elections, are in place by 2024 December, we, the SPLM, will lead them to the elections.
Yes.
And we will do our part as members of the SPLM to make sure we popularize the party and we explain to our people where we came from, where we brought them from, the shortcomings and our difficulties and our challenges, and what we hope to do for them. And I'm confident that the people of South Sudan will give us a ear to hear our views, and we will win the election overwhelmingly.
Talking of viability concerning the election, I want you to at least highlight it as to us going to election. Someone will argue that since the independent, the SPLM leadership has been in the SPLM party has been in leadership. So what should we expect from this SPLM?
You know, people, South Sudanese sometimes they can ignore 9 things that you have done good,
Yes.
and try to concentrate on one thing that went wrong. But no political party in the whole world is perfect.
Yes.
You cannot get it all. There are some give and takes.
Yes, yes.
If we talk about the 10 years in 2011,
Yes.
You forget the fact that there is 21 years, and then there is 6 years of interim period
Yes.
that led to the independence.
Independent, yes.
So if SPLM was a failure, they would have not led you all the way to independence.
Yes.
So the failure people are talking about now are the failures from 2013 to 2023, 10 years.
Yes.
But you know, when a country is at war, things don't go correctly. In your own family, if you are not in agreement and you are pulling and pushing in different directions,
Yes.
things go wrong. And that is not because the SPLM leadership are a failure, because they cannot take you for 21 years
Yes.
and then 6 years of interim period, give you independence, raise the flag, and you also call them 3 years later they are failures. The same people. Comrade Safa was there from 1983.
Yes.
So the same cadres have been doing all these things. And from 2011 to 2013, the SPLM was still trying to give us economic freedom from the North.
Yes.
The North was still stealing our oil through the pipeline passing through the
Yes.
place.
Yes. Yes.
You remember we had to shut down the oil,
Yes.
okay, for a very long time. It has cost us during those times. Let me finish. We had to go to war in Ijlich. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
This is between 2011 and 2013. What do you expect somebody who is still fighting his enemy to deliver to you in terms of infrastructure, in terms of basic services, when he's still on war footing with the enemy in the North, the enemy that they have been fighting for 21 years? When the border between us and the enemy has not even been demarcated up to now,
Yes.
when Abiy is still in the North, when other disputed, the so-called disputed areas that are being claimed by Sudan has not been sorted out. The SPLM was still in war footing, but they were forced to rush into the election in 2015.
Yes.
And while moving into the election process, no country, no political party has ever won independence and head into elections within 3 years. That was too much expectation put on the SPLM by the international community. There is no way we can ask, for example, this country where we are in now.
Yes.
The first democratic election they've had was in 1992. They got their independence in 1963. How many years did Kanu have to take to transform its people, its institution, nation-building institution, so that the country can be ready to conduct democratic elections?
Yes.
It took them 29 years. The SPLM was pushed into election within 3 years. And because of all this power struggle, with no institutions, no proper understanding of what democratic principles are, it is something new to us. The people of South Sudan, it is the first time in their lives for them to have a president of their own.
Yes, yes.
The system itself is foreign to us. The president, the parliament, the judiciary, local government, and so forth. These are some new things. Now you introduce these democratic principles. That is something that is foreign to us. And you want it to be rushed. So people went into war. And if people go into war, you don't expect a fighting leader to also have resources to expand the private sector, because investments and expansion of the private sector means peace and stability.
Yes.
So the SPLM has not even had a chance to continue their successes from 1983, 2005, from 2005 to 2011. They have not been given a chance up to now. And that's why elections, and that's why you see the hardliners SPLM
Yes.
are eager for these elections, because they want not to just be a partner in the government where they are 53%. They want to have 90% so that they can now do their vision,
Yes.
implement their ideas.
Yes, it is fair to say that the war has hindered the developmental programs in Southern Sudan. But again, as a political party, I believe there are instances where you should have you can point fingers that we have done this, we have done that. And as a South Sudanese who is watching, and those in diaspora, what is it that I'm emphasizing on this one because I think it is very critical. Because what should South Sudanese expect from?
I know the people of South Sudan understand that in your own house, if you are up, you are building your house, you are touching your house,
Yes.
and your two wives start fighting down, what do? You continue touching the house, or you go and fix the fight?
Mm-hmm.
You get down and you go and fix the fight.
Yes.
And the SPLM has been trying to fix the fight. But at the same time, you say, no, you must fix the fight, but at the same time, you must build. You must divide yourself into two.
Yes.
You cannot do that. So from 2013, the SPLM has been trying to reunite the SPLM. 2 agreements were signed. The agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan in Addis Ababa,
Yes.
and the agreement on the Arusha agreement on the reunification of the SPLM,
Yes.
to try and reunify the SPLM. They succeeded in 2015, after 2 years. In 2016, it broke down again. They continued until 2018, they brought it back again. Now they're struggling to transition the country to peace.
Yes.
They have been trying to extinguish the fire. But somehow people like you think that they should leave the fire to rage and do the development. But the development and fire, if you understand how the countries are governed,
Yes.
they don't go along. You cannot have fire while you're also building at the same time.
Yes.
So the energy and resources are used to have this big government of 5 vice presidents, 600 MPs. Where do we think, because these are all done to try and extinguish the fire. It is when the fire, and that's why these next 2 years, that's why we are now back home, because we need to make sure that we don't slide back into conflict, because it is the conflict that is stopping the development in the country. It is not lack of vision by the SPLM. It is no opportunity. Okay? Even here in Kenya, when they demonstrate badly, those 2 days they demonstrate, the economy suffers.
Yes.
They lose billions of shillings. And this is just demonstration. What if the guns are used like now for in Khartoum? Is there any economy in Khartoum now? Can you build roads in Khartoum?
Not at all.
You cannot. You cannot build while fighting. So all of us need to focus to make sure that 2023, 2024 country doesn't slide back into conflict. That everything we say and do must help us continue to restore our shredded social fabric between us, so that we transition the country into peaceful, free, and democratic elections. And from there, anybody that has been mandated by the people of South Sudan to run the government, the rest who will lose the election will be in the opposition, the way democratic processes dictate. Those who have been given government to run the government for the next 5 years, you have the right now to say, we have given you power for the last 5 years. What have you done in the last 5 years? And there has not been more. And the SPLM is not a new party over the last 10 years. It is not like we don't have track record to compare whether SPLM can deliver or not. It has delivered freedom within 21 years that we have been fighting for since 1955. They properly articulated the issue, set the vision, and led the people of South Sudan, organize them, mobilize them, and led them to freedom. So there's a track record to show that they have done it before. The only reason they have not been able to do it in the last 10 years is because they have been trying to fix, to stop the killing, to stop the displacement, to stop the humanitarian crisis in the country, and bring the country back into unity so that they can move forward.
When you talk of the last 21 years, that one, I believe it includes everyone, all the political parties that are in South Sudan today. I believe during the last 21 years of the struggle, everyone was included. But I will leave it to that. So, I want to ask you, where do you see South Sudan in the next 10 years as a young politician and prominent leader in the country today?
It doesn't matter who rules. If we don't tackle the issue of stability, stop the unnecessary wars, and give ourselves a chance to fix the founding institutions for state and nation building, and strengthen our democratic and accountability institutions, do the reforms envisaged in these agreements, the security sector reforms, the economic sector reforms, the repatriation and reparation of the people that have been affected by conflict, the transitional justice, so that we account those who have done mistakes, so that we stamp out impunity. If we do not do these things, regardless of who rules, like any other country, unless we unite and we give ourselves a chance to build this institution and do these reforms over the next 10 years, it is possible that in 10 years, South Sudan can make a complete U-turn within 10 years. If these institutions are managed, whether under SPLM or under any other party that wins the election. But it is a responsibility, our responsibility as the people of South Sudan, to shun violence, to shun politics of gun, and try to transform ourselves into a peaceful country that can compete for power in a peaceful environment with the rule of law and institutions strengthened, like any other of our neighboring countries. And that can happen within 10 years.
Thank you very much. We are going on another break, and we will come back again, and you will tell us those young people who are in diaspora and within the South Sudan, and what can you tell them? Ladies and gentlemen, as we come back again, we'll answer back to that question. Yeah, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we are almost done with our conversation. Why should I follow you as a young person in South Sudan?
Personally, I'm not asking anybody to follow me for now, but there's a lot of people that follow me. I get a lot of messages on social media, thousands of messages by people that feel inspired by my journey. I think my journey is unique, but it also represents the story of many of young people of South Sudan that were born into war. An orphan of war who was taken into Ethiopia in the childhood, suffered 3 months of walking on foot with all the calamities that faces most of us, and we've lost a lot of thousands of our colleagues, our age mates. We went into the training, rigorous training. We went through some political indoctrination on the mission and vision of the SPLM. We then got displaced again. In Ethiopia, we went to Sudan, we got displaced again, and we've been bounced from place to place. We grew up through a lot of difficulties, whether those that went to Ethiopia, those that were left in Khartoum, those who were left in the villages. It is a generation that has gone through a lot of pain. So some people may feel inspired by the fact that regardless of the pain that I've gone through in my childhood, I have the determination to continue the public service for our people and continue to stand up for what I believe in.
Yes.
And my journey is not a smooth journey. It's a journey that has been faced with a lot of political landmines, physical dangers, mistakes here and there. But every time I fall, I always have the energy to get up. Every time I turn in the wrong direction, I always adjust and find my path. And this is the story of all human beings.
Yes.
Nobody is perfect.
Yes.
Nobody is perfect, and my message reflects to the lives of the young people.
Yes.
That in your journey, it doesn't have to be a political journey, it could be academic journey. You may drop off from university for 2-3 years,
Yes.
and you go and find yourself doing things that are not correct. You rediscover yourself, come back and finish your university. You may be a married young person who then neglects their children for 2-3 years, then come back, and so forth. And that's the story from those of Dr. John Grant, Joseph Lago, Salva Kiir. Their paths are not smooth.
Yes.
They may look now at the end of it when you are victorious.
Yes. Yes.
It looks like it was all nice, but it wasn't nice. They have gone through a lot of pain, a lot of failures, battles that have been lost, battles that have been won. Those are commercial funds. They can come on here today and they shed tears because they feel like they have done a mistake in the strategic decisions
Yes.
on how to attack and how to do this.
Right.
But they continue. What makes them inspirational, what makes those of commercial inspirational, is that they don't take failures
Yes.
to bog them down. They use failures as a tool to correct themselves.
Yes.
And get back. And I think that's the life of my story. I'm not a perfect person, but I'm determined to continue in that path. And that determination and strength
Yes.
is what most of followers that follow me on social media tell me about me.
Yes.
But at this time and point, I'm not asking anybody to follow me. I'm asking them to follow the SPLM under Comrade Selfa, to unite the people of South Sudan,
Yes.
all the SPLM factions and all the people who are outside, those of Thomas Cirillo, those of Pagana Mon and the rest, should all be allowed to come back to Juba, sit around the table as brothers,
Yes.
and discuss how to collectively transition our country from instability
Yes.
to peace and tranquility, and how to democratize the country together.
Yes.
This is what I want the people of South Sudan to pay attention to.
Yes.
Let us not be let's not raise our expectation too much. SPLM have done so much, and the current crop of leaders are also getting tired and they're also getting old.
Yes.
So normally in every party there's always up and down. So when the leaders are getting old, it gets down, and then when the younger generation are taken up, it gets up again.
Yes.
So no party is straight as well. Just like in your own lives, the SPLM also has its own challenges.
Yes.
Sometimes it divides, it reunites, it divides, it reunites. But it is still the party that has the correct and the nearest thing to what can fix South Sudan. So that's, I feel like, my connection with the people of South Sudan.
Thank you, Agil Machar. We have come to our conclusion, and before that, again, what is that one message that you want to tell people of South Sudan? What is your message?
At this time and this year, people, it is about elections. The message from the SPLM, even though I'm not authorized to speak on behalf of the SPLM, is that we are ready for elections. But as a patriotic citizen, I feel like my country is not ready for elections. And we need to discuss why it is not and what needs to be done. What are the options? If the prerequisite for election, for example, the constitution making process,
Yes.
the census, security sector reform, economic sector reforms, transitional justice, repatriation of the people from UNAMIS and this place. If all these prerequisites don't are not achieved by December 2024, what do we do as the people of South Sudan? We need to be vocal enough and let our leaders know, be it in the SPLM or in the SPLMIO or in the SOA or in the OPP or in the civil society. All of us as citizens need to discuss, because when you rush a country into election without proper institution to manage it, you risk violence and disruption of society. So this is a very critical time. We need to think about it. But we in the SPLM, we repeat again, we are prepared for the election. We are ready for the election. We want the election to continue, if what the people of South Sudan want. But if the people of South Sudan agree with us and ask us, because we are a people-based party, if the people come out to us and say, we are not ready for elections, this is the alternative we want, we will be able to listen to it, okay, and deliver to the people of South Sudan what they need and what the country needs to remain united and to continue the path towards prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you very much again, Machar. You're welcome. ladies and gentlemen, that was our interview with Adel Macharin. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe for more interviews with young and vibrant young South Sudanese in politics, in economics, in schools, and all that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.